Alrighty, what is going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the channel for another market update. Hope everybody had a lovely day. And with that being said, let's dive into the TA. All right, guys, we're going to be going over the indices here: SPY, QQ, IWM. We'll go over VIX, and then we're going to check out some Mag 7 stocks. And then I have a few stocks that are looking like they're about to make some moves going into tomorrow. So we'll point those out at the end of the video. But for the time being, guys, let's jump into SPY. Now, we did pull back today. We warned everybody about the pullback. We said it was very likely going to be taking place. It didn't happen last week. Broke up from consolidation, continue having this impulsive move up. But, you know, we're getting pretty extended here. We're probably going to be seeing a pullback, and that is what happened today. We did start pulling back. We tested the 5 EMA here. And I'm just going to say, guys, bulls are still in control. Bulls still can take this right back up from right where we are right here. SPY and QQ are both at the 4-hour 21 EMA. Both are looking like they very easily can pop right back up. I would really say get above 622.43 again over here on SPY. And this thing is probably going to start pushing back up. Above 622.43, we're talking 624.03. And then we have 626.28, and then we're probably going to push straight to 630 if we just pop right back above 626.28 here. On the downside, we have 620.49, 619.22. We could watch today's low at 617.87. Underneath there, 615.04, and then 613.23, guys. Either we are going to hold where we are right now. All right, right over here, the key level to be paying attention to is 619.22. If we don't hold 619.22, then we are going to be rolling over, and we're probably coming down to 613.23. Now, we talked about this buying opportunity before it started. All right, I'm not saying this is all she wrote. We're going to have to see what happens tomorrow. If you pop up above 622.43, get above 624.03, today's high, you're probably going to push right back up. But, you know, if you do not hold 619.22 and we start break it down intraday tomorrow, or we gap down here and maybe test this to start off the day, you know, honestly, I think we're probably going to be on our way down to 613.23, previous all-time high here. And I think that is something that would hold. But that would honestly make the most sense to me. We could also just hit it with the inside week here and, you know, do nothing all week. We could see just that. I don't think that's going to be the case. But, yeah, I mean, you know, it's either going to pull back a bit more down here to 613.23. And then, you know, get bought up after that. And then we're going 630, 635, 640. Or we're just going to pop right back up, and we'll find out tomorrow. Okay? Or we consolidate again tomorrow and then pop up the following day. If we just spend a day consolidating here and increase the odds that we're just going to pop right back up. All right, so that is SPY over here. And over here on QQQ, a very similar look. And we can see here on the 4-hour time frame, you're also finding buyers right off of the 4-hour 21 EMA. That is something else that looks like, yeah, I mean, this is where you want to be holding it. Their buyers are holding it right here. I will just say this is a very controlled sell here on SPY and QQ today. You know, it looks like this is honestly just flagging out here before another move up. So, you know, I'm biased to the upside regardless here. Bulls are definitely still in control. And, yeah, I mean, I don't think it's worth really shorting the market at the current point in time. Maybe you do get back down here, but I would just say take off your profits here and, yeah, wait to get that big buying opportunity. And in the time being, I have some trade ideas that I think will be going regardless of what the market does at the end of the video. All right, but QQQ on the upside, 552.80 above there, things are looking good. You probably are going to test 554.34, and then, you know, at that point, you're probably going to start pushing right back up to 557.20 and go straight to 560. All right, on the downside, we have today's low, 549.58, 544.66, and then 540.81, previous all-time high. Coming over to VIX, guys, you did end up getting a gap and go today, and then you know, print this spinning top kind of candlestick here. Doji right off of the daily 21 EMA. You know, we're going to have to see what the market wants to do tomorrow. Again, we know the levels to be watching over here. We're, you know, probably going to be revisiting 613 over here on SPY, previous all-time high, that white level right there. And then on QQQ, 540.81. Wherever the VIX is at when price comes down here, you know, that's where it's probably going to be topping out at, because that's a dip that is very likely going to be bought. All right. But you know, VIX, we're gonna have a decision tomorrow. If you do end up pushing off of this, then yeah, we're probably gonna see VIX get elevated, but I don't think it's gonna reclaim this 200 DMA here. I think more likely it's either gonna, you know, consolidate here and then break down, or this thing just starts breaking down right now. I think it's very unlikely that we get a full-on VIX spike here. I just don't think it's in the cards, but it can happen. I just don't think it's likely with how things are set up. All right, coming over here to IWM, guys. Bitcoin is waking up. It is waking up. Over here on IWM, guys, you did sell right off of 223.01 resistance right over here, guys. If you were in this one with me, there you go. But it is, you know, there comes times to take profits. If you were sitting up there up, you know, 100, 200%, you got no business not taking profit. All right. And, you know, this thing's going to be pulling back into the 200 DMA. Over here, you had resistance. Over here, you had resistance. Okay. You tried selling off it, but then you got bought right through it there. Guess what? We're probably going to see demand when we come back down into this area. So that is where we are expecting this to start getting bought up at. Maybe it consolidates here for a few weeks and then pushes up off of that. Maybe the market, you know, maybe everything does that. SPY could consolidate at the highs. IWM consolidates like this. But we come over here to DIA, guys, and we're still not at all-time highs. We talked about this. If price pulls back over here, wherever this ends up at, 438.70, down here 433, you know, wherever it ends up at, it's a buy the dip opportunity for that move to all-time highs. You know, it could just consolidate right here and then push up like that. I don't think it would take that long. Probably just you know, go something like this. All right, and then you really start moving. But you know, I just like, look at this, you know, one red week and then you resumed, two red weeks and then you resumed, one resumed. Okay, so you know, either this thing's just going to keep going, or very likely next week it's just going to return back to, you know, moving and grooving. If not that next week, then the following week we can see 1, 2. Well, this would be 1, 2. You know, if this is going to be moving higher, guys, you know that, you know, this dip is about to be bought. You don't need me to tell you that. Okay, I'm just, you know, mentally preparing everyone for it. I told you guys, you know, things could start pulling back. Get ready for it if it happens. Don't put yourself in a bad spot. And hopefully you didn't. But yeah, that's all that's happening right now. It's exactly what we were discussing in the weekly update. If you're new here to the channel, we have a video Monday through Thursday, and then we have the weekly update every weekend. That's what we talked about. Okay. Now coming over here to the Mag 7 stocks, Amazon, guys, it still looks like this thing could move. Okay, just remove all of the lines there, and this thing looks like it just broke up from consolidation. It's very likely not going to stop right here. If it pulls back with the rest of the market here, I don't expect it to revisit 218.40, but if it does, that's where you want to see demand. That's where you want to see buyers stepping in there. But again, you know, I personally don't think that's going to happen. I personally think you're going to push up off of this area. Apple over here, guys, it's now pulling into a key spot. So you have 209.48 there. And then we also have 206.24. This is the level it broke out from. If it revisits 206.24, I think it is going to come a little bit lower here. But I do think this is a dip that will be bought. All right, I think it's clear as day. This thing is very likely to be bought here. And then if you find buyers here and you get through 214.56, then we're going straight to 220. That is Apple. Microsoft, guys, another thing that makes me think the market's not really going to pull back all that much. You know, it's just like Amazon there. It's just like Apple. Like I think these things are going to be bought pretty soon here, and they're going to be moving and grooving again. Microsoft, it's probably just going to consolidate here if the market pulls back, and then get ready for its move above 576 and pop up to 505 and 510 pretty quick. On the downside, you're watching 493.03 and 488.70. NVDA. All right, it's another thing, just like Microsoft, just kind of consolidating here. If the market pulls back, I imagine this is just going to stay in this little range here, and then it's going to be pushing up. Pulls back, you're watching 152.89, and then on the upside, watch for the break above 161. GOOG. All right, now this is a little ugly duckling, but this is what we said over here. This weekly candle on Amazon and Google suggested that we could pull back and, you know, come into that lower wick. That is exactly what's happening. We're anticipating this last weekly lower wick here to hold, which was at 174.66. But yeah, you're looking for buyers down there, and you're looking for them to take it back up. So, this is another chart here that's suggesting we probably aren't going to see a long-lived dip here. We're probably going to start getting bought back up pretty soon. Meta, all right? I know I said, hey, I don't think it's worth touching this thing. I still don't. I think it's more likely than not that you'd start just building out something sideways. But I will say it's setting up pretty nice over here. Coming back into the moving averages, pulling back into 708.87 where it broke out from. Really doesn't look all that bad. It's getting real tight. Not bad. Tesla over here, guys. Massive gap to the upside. I don't think it's just going to continue, floating to the downside here. I think it's probably going to fill at least some of this gap. Maybe we'll see 305 to 310. That is what I'm thinking over here on Tesla. If it does just take out today's low at 288.77 tomorrow, then maybe it is going to continue lower down to 281.85 and then 273.21. Those are the Mag 7 stocks. Now let's come over here to Bitcoin. Now Bitcoin, if Bitcoin starts moving up, Coin and MSTR are probably going to start getting their respective moves there. We know this dip is going to be bought. We don't know if it happens, right away. We don't know if tomorrow it's right back up here or it's going to take a few days. We have no idea. We do know it's very likely this Bitcoin dip is going to be bought. On that dip, Coinbase right over here, it is probably going to be moving. If it can get above 370, it's probably going to take out 382 and then head to $400. MSTR over here, bit of a mess, but you guys can see the same exact thing. All right, big bull flag. You broke out from this double bottom over here. Then you had a big move, and then you had this bull flag that's been just developing over here. You're now back down to 394.79, where you had a failed breakout right over here, and then you broke out right over here. It was another double bottom neckline. You're revisiting that right now. This thing could pop above 414.60. I think it moves to 430 quick, and then 450 after that. But this is definitely something that I think is about to start a crazy move, guys. I do. And the move hasn't started. The move I speak of, it hasn't started. It's about to have another crazy move. We don't have these higher time frame break of structures very often. The last one we had was over here. Well, we had this one right over here. But before right here, where you had 2.5 weeks of straight upside where every dip was bought, you had this rip river move right here. Other than that, you haven't had this higher time for break of structure. So I'm definitely watching it closely here. And I think over the next 2 to 3 weeks, this is going to have that move. It's going to be pretty crazy. But it's got to actually start the move. I want to see a daily close above 404.42. We just missed that daily close on Friday. They shoved it down right at the end of the day there. And, as you say, we did not close above there today. That is the level we want to see a daily close above. Get a daily close above 404.42 and then move above 414.60. This thing, it's ignited. It's gonna go boom. All right. So those are the first two ideas right there. Next one is going to be Oklo, guys. It's starting to pop back up. This was a hot theme. All right. The nuclear theme over here, I think it's about to be heating up. SMR doesn't really look all too appealing to me. But I'll tell you right now, Oklo looks like a monster. And I was sitting there into the close just debating adding this thing. And, I'm going to be completely honest, guys. This thing looks like it's about to start a big move back up. If it can get above 59.14, it looks like it definitely can. If it gets above 59.14, it probably is going to start pushing back up. Above there, 64.78, and then 73.55, and then 80. There's Oklo. Walmart. This is one that over the coming sessions, I think could start making that move we've been talking about. Over 99.5, 99.50. We're talking 189 and then 102.55 above their all-time highs at 105.30. Very nice little base above the moving averages over here on the weekly time frame. It's getting real tight up there against 99.5. It looks like it is about to snap, and you're about to probably have another impulsive move. I think that takes you straight to all-time highs. That's Walmart. Carvana. I told you guys this is just something pretty clear that it wants to break above 351.43 and it's probably going to get 360 quick. High of day, 359.90. Not too shabby. I do think this is probably just going to keep trekking higher though over here over the coming sessions. Pullbacks are buying opportunities. Uber. It exploded this morning. And yeah, congratulations if you played it. There you go, guys. There's always going to be things that are moving the market. If you take anything away from this channel, please just, I want you to see every single week, there are constantly big movers that you could be making money off of. Even if the market is, doing its sideways crap that it loves doing sometimes, there are still going to be setups that are, they're ready to move. They're ready to rumble. And Uber was one. All right. If it didn't make the move last week, it was going to make it this week. That's what we talked about in the weekly update. It was setting up for this big move. The 4 hours looking absolutely crazy over here. And you did have that big pop. I think 100 is incoming. A dip would be a buying opportunity in my personal opinion. I don't know if you're going to get some crap like this that takes a week of consolidation, but I imagine you don't. And I imagine you hit it with the 1-2 and we get another big day and we get up to 100 maybe tomorrow. So that's Uber. Shopify. All right, above 117.36. This can get a quick pop up to 120, 120.72. That's Shopify. SoFi. I think $20 is coming tomorrow. That's it. That's the whole thing over here. Okay. SoFi is it's gonna keep going up. Rocket Lab, new highs above 38.26. I think it's going to 40 in the short term, and then we're talking 42 and then $45. All right. CRWV still in this wedge. The pop above 166.63. That's when it starts that next move, and it probably gets 187, 200 following that. All right. Aside from that, guys, PayPal. It's still holding up pretty well for what the market is doing. And I would still say this weekly chart is just we're probably going to be continuing here in the short term. I imagine you're not going to pull back all that much. You just had a whole crap ton of consolidation. I don't think you're going to get much of a pullback. I think you're going to continue pushing. So that is the opinion over here on PayPal. All right, guys, that's what I have for you guys today. I really will just outline Walmart here. Very sexy setup. This is the weekly. This is the daily. It looks like it could snap. Maybe it does decide to go, consolidate for a day like that. If it does that, I think it's a clear as day buying opportunity for the breakout that comes the next session. Okay. Other than that, Oklo. If Bitcoin wants to really pop back up overnight, maybe we see it back at 109. Maybe we see it back at 110 somehow tomorrow. MSTR is going to pop right back up. And then when it gets above 404.42, that's when it's really going to start going. All right. And those are really the top ones that I'd be paying attention to. Oscar over here, guys, you're finding buyers here in the golden pocket and right at 1673. That's a good sign. All right. And then other than that, you have QBTS right here. I really like how the 1 hour and the 4 hour charts are coming together here. They're looking really nice. All right. As you can see, flagging out right against resistance there. Not the worst look in the world. You come and look at the weekly chart. Clear as day where this thing wants to go. It wants to head up to 1977 and probably 22, 23, 24, 25. CrowdStrike, clear as day, probably going to be bought up. That's all. It doesn't look bad by any means. Most of the time, we're not going to have this perfect looking double top here pull back without being bought up. So over the next week, expect this guy to be bought up. That's what I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. It was a little shorter. I tried doing things quicker than I normally do here. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please remember to like the video. That's all I ask. All right. That's the only thing that really helps these videos get out to other people, to help the channel grow. You guys are in control of the channel growth. I will put in my side over here. Please just remember to like the video so the YouTube algorithm can see that. All right, and leave a comment, guys. The YouTube algorithm loves that. I love seeing your comments as well. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you'd like to come trade with me, I live stream every day. That link will be down below. All right, with that being said, I hope everybody has a lovely rest of the night, and peace.